If you're waiting for the right time to buy a condo in Kelowna, you might be waiting yourself right out of options. Here's what I mean. Right now, there are more condos for sale in Kelowna than we've seen in years. Inventory's up, sales are slower, rates came down in 2025, and they might come down a little bit more in 2026. So waiting feels smart, but something shifted in the Kelowna market over the last few years, and if you're planning to buy in the next 12 to 24 months, you need to understand what's actually happening. Today, I'm going to show you what's going on, why this slow market probably won't last, and how to think about timing if you're considering a move. I'm Mark with KelownaCondos.ca and Remax Kelowna, and I've been selling condos in good and bad markets for 24 years. So let's get into it. First, let me be honest about what's happening right now. There are over 360 resale condos on the market, and at the current pace of sales, that's roughly 9 months of inventory. On top of that, there's another 90 or so new construction condos on the market. Sales are slower than they were in 2022 or 2023. Buyers today have more selection. And yes, there's room to negotiate on a lot of these units. If you're watching the market from out of town or you're thinking about downsizing, this probably feels like a market where you can take your time, browse the listings, and wait for the right moment. And honestly, you're not wrong. You do have more selection right now than buyers had 2 or 3 years ago. But here's what people might not realize. Over the last 2 to 3 years, there's been a massive shift. Condo developers in Kelowna stopped building condos. Unlike Vancouver or Toronto, it's not because they went out of business. It's because they switched to rentals. Here's what happened. A few years ago, pre-sales weren't hitting their numbers. Developers couldn't sell enough units to get the financing and start construction. At the same time, the government rolled out programs that made rental projects a lot more attractive financially. So developers who had planned to build condos, they converted those condos into rentals instead. An example is a project on St. Paul that was supposed to be condos, now it's rentals. A development in Pandosy that launched as condos, couldn't sell, converted to rentals. This has happened all across Kelowna, project after project, and the result is that the pipeline of new condos coming to the market has completely dried up. The new condos you see listed today, these are units in buildings that are either completed or they're almost completed. And I talk to buyers all the time. Oh, there are so many condos being built. But when we talk about which ones, they can't name any. And that's because there isn't one to name. 95% of new buildings under construction right now are rentals. If this kind of market breakdown is helpful, hit subscribe. Every week, I put out videos just like this to help you understand what's going on in the Kelowna condo market. So what does this mean to you if you're thinking about buying? Well, let me connect the dots. In 2025, Kelowna was ranked number 6 in Canada for inward migration. People keep moving here, retirees, remote workers, families from Alberta and the Lower Mainland. That demand isn't slowing down, but the new condo supply isn't being built to meet it. So here's the math. The high condo inventory on the market, it's not going to last forever. All the condo developments in the last 10 years is what's caused this high inventory. So the lack of the development in the next 5 years is what's going to reduce the inventory. The buildings with the best locations, the strongest financials, and the right layouts, those will go first. Now, I'm not saying you need to rush. I'm saying that if you're serious about buying in the next few years, 2026 could offer some of the best selection you'll see for a while. For someone relocating from Vancouver or Calgary or downsizing from a house here in Kelowna, having options matters. You want to find the right building, the right layout, and the right neighborhood. That's all a lot easier to do when there's inventory to compare. Let me give you an example. I worked with a buyer in 2021 who spent close to 12 months watching the market. He wasn't in a rush, he wanted to see what was out there, and he wanted to wait for the perfect condo. But by the time he was ready to move forward, 2 of the 3 buildings he originally liked no longer had units available. The third had one option left, but it wasn't the layout he wanted. He still found something that worked, but it wasn't his first or his second choice. The point is that waiting isn't free. The cost isn't always price, but sometimes it's selection. So how do you think about timing? Well, here's what I tell buyers. The wrong question is now the perfect time to buy. The better question is, am I ready? And does the current market give me what I need? There are 3 things worth considering. First is your timeline. If you're planning to move in the next 6 to 12 months, today's inventory works in your favor. You have a lot of options, you can compare buildings, and you can be selective. Second, your flexibility. If you're locked into a specific building or a specific view, passing on an option is risky because you never know when a similar unit's going to come up. Third is your financial situation. If you're planning to wait for rates to drop another quarter point, you might be trading today's selection for tomorrow's savings that never show up. And here's the thing about real estate. In 2021, I saw people pay hundreds of thousands of dollars over asking price because they were afraid of missing out. Now, I'm seeing the opposite. People are sitting on the sidelines. They're missing the perfect condo because they're afraid of making a bad decision. I can guarantee you that the market today in 2026 is a lot less risky than it was in 2021. Fear cost buyers money in 2021, and fear is costing buyers opportunities right now. The best time to buy is actually when you're ready, not when the news says it's a good time. Let me recap what we just covered. Right now, the Kelowna condo market has more inventory than we've seen in years. That's real, and it gives buyers options. The future supply is probably going to dry up because developers pivoted to rentals, and there is nothing in the pipeline to replace what's selling now. As the inventory shrinks, so does the selection. The question isn't, should I wait? The question is, am I ready? If you're thinking about buying a condo in Kelowna and you want to talk about what makes sense for your situation, I would be happy to chat. No pressure, just a conversation about your timeline and how you can be prepared when the time comes. You'll find my calendar link in the description below. And if this video was helpful, drop me a comment and let me know. I would love to read them. If you're considering a move to Kelowna or you're already here watching the market, I would love to hear where you're at. I'm Mark with KelownaCondos.ca, and I stay on top of the condo market so you don't have to. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.